But here we have a story about one of the followers of the Maggid of Mezrich, one of the Chassidim of the Maggid min Mezrich. Maggid min Mezrich, he was the pupil of the Baal Shem Tov. One day, the Maggid of Mezrich called one of his pupils, who was a genius, nice personality, good person, totally devoted to the creator of the universe, but a real, a shlamazel. He didn't dress properly. He didn't take care of himself. He didn't care about himself whatsoever. He was interested in learning Torah and doing the commandments. And who was he with? He was only with, the other pupils. He had no one to especially make an impression on him. So the Maggid of Mezrich calls him in and says, listen, you have to get married. So he said, listen, I was thinking about it, but who would want to marry me? Look, I don't have any money. I don't have any special, talents. I learned Torah. I know how to learn the Torah. And that's it. I don't have any qualities. I don't even nice clothes. I don't have anything. Who would want to marry a person like me? So he said, the Maggid of Mezrich said, you take this road, just start walking. And the first offer you have to get married, take it. It's a way to live your life. It's a way to get married. But the Maggid said, so he did it. So he walks on this road. It was already a little bit late. He walks on the road, walks 2, 3, 4 hours. He's really tired. The nighttime comes and he goes into this inn that's on the side of the road. And he sits in a corner. There's nobody else there. And he sits down in a corner and he sort of, dreams off a little bit. So all of a sudden there come in 3 or 4 ruffians, Jews. And they come in and they're starting to make a noise. And they're starting to drink. And a few of their friends come in and they're yelling and they're drinking and they're all drunk and they're punching each other and they're fighting and they're just, Jews, friends with each other, not in anger. They start to break things. All of a sudden, one of them says, hey, look over there sitting in the corner. What do we have? Oh, we have a big tzaddik. We have Moshe Rabbeinu sitting in the corner. Let's have a good time. So they go over to him and they say, hey, what's your name? He says, my name is Shmerel. They're all drunk, totally drunk. They say, hey, let's make a wedding. We'd like to invite you to a wedding. He said, wedding? What type of a wedding? We're making a wedding here. He says, sure, no problem. Well, I don't see the groom, the bride. He says, you don't see the reason you don't see the groom is because you're the groom. And they're all laughing. Says, I'm the groom. Who's the bride? There's just 1 second. They go into the kitchen, and there in the kitchen is the owner of this inn. His daughter happens to be there. So they say to her, excuse me, are you married? So she says, no. Are you Jewish? Sure, I'm Jewish. And she says, come, we have a good thing for you. Wash your hands. Wash your hands. They bring her out, and they say, we're making a marriage, a wedding. Oh, wonderful. I'm so happy. You're the bride. I'm the bride. Here's the groom. They take a tablecloth, they hold it over their heads. One of them says, 1 minute, we can't get him married. They have to have a ketuvah. They have to have a marriage certificate. So this young man, he's a Talmudic scholar. He says, I know how to write a wedding certificate. They say, okay, you write it. Meanwhile, they're all drinking and yelling and screaming. So he writes the marriage certificate. And they give him a coin or something like that. They give him something. And he says, you are married to me, gives her a coin. They make all the blessings. They hold up a big thing over like a tablecloth over both of them. And they go through the whole ceremony. And one of them even takes a ring off of his finger or something, gives it to him. He says, this is your ring. He says all the laws, what they have to do. They do everything according to the laws. And that's it. They finish the wedding. No, the Maggid of Mezrich said you have to do whatever, the first offer you have to get married. That's what he did. It's happened so fast, amazing. And they say, okay, now we have to give you a present. We have to give a present to the groom. What the present of the groom, one takes a big plate of like pickles, puts it on his head. Another one takes a big thing of whatever it is, of hummus or something, and puts it in his face, and they're laughing and they're rolling around and they're knocking things down and breaking things and everything like that. And she, meanwhile, they're married. And she, meanwhile, she washes. There's a simple girl. She goes in the room, finishes washing the dishes, and he sits in the corner. They make him a little meal or something, and he eats, and he goes to sleep. The next morning, her father comes back. It ends up that the father, he owns this inn, but he owns all the lands all around. He's a very tremendously rich person. He comes and he sees all these drunk people. All the tables are broken. He sees this guy living. What's going on? And they wakes one of them up. He says, goes to his daughter. What happened? What's all this? What happened? He said, oh, there was a wedding here last night. A wedding? Here in this place? Who? What are these drunk people over here? What's going on? He said, oh, they were just guests in the wedding. Well, who's that scarecrow sitting in the corner? He said, oh, that's the groom. That's the groom. That's the groom? He was the one that got married? He looks terrible. He looks like a scarecrow. Looks like, well, where's the bride? He said, oh, I'm the bride. I said, what? You're the bride? Are you mad? What is going on here? What has happened? You wrecked my whole place. You're the bride. He said, yeah, look, here's my ring. Here's my wedding ring. And that nice man over there, he married me. We got married. So he said, 1 minute over here. He calls his men, wakes up all the ruffians, forces them to pay for everything. And he says, is it true? They wrote a ketuvah. Yes, they do. They wrote a ketuvah, a marriage certificate. Here it is. She brings it out, the marriage certificate. She says, he says, well, that's it. It's annulled. Give it back to him. So the fellow says, listen, first of all, if you don't divorce my daughter, I'm going to break every bone in your body. He says, listen, you can break whatever you want to, but we're married. Oy, 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 oy. Oh, well, we're married. We're married. Here's the marriage. Take the marriage certificate back. He says, no. If we want to get married, if we want to get divorced, you have to write another certificate. There's a divorce certificate. It's called the get. And I don't want to get divorced from her. He starts yelling and screaming, you better divorce my daughter. So listen, it's not going to do any good. I'm simply not going to divorce her. And she's saying, I sort of like him, Daddy. He's sort of a nice person. So okay, listen, I realized, okay, so I made a mistake. Get washed up. Washes up. Says, okay, now you're okay. You're put on some sort of normal clothes. Okay, now wash your clothes. I'll give you $1,000 to divorce. No, I'm not going to give. And he says, listen, what will convince you to divorce my daughter? I don't want you to be married to her. He said, listen, my Rebbe told me that I should get married to the first woman that I'm offered. And this was the first woman that was offered. So if my Rebbe says to get divorced, I'm willing to get divorced. So he says, okay, you know what? That's what we'll do. Don't think that I am. 1 second. Oh, here, yes. Okay, good. I don't think that I'm. Just says, okay, good. So they go to the Rebbe, and the Rebbe says, "You want him to divorce your daughter?" He says, "Yes, I want 10,000 rubles." 10,000 rubles. That's a lot of money. 10,000 rubles. Okay, just forget it. No. 10,000 here. I give the whole money. I have it all with me. Here's 10,000. That's all I brought with me. 10,000. He says, okay, now we're writing a bill of divorce. And that's it. Okay, now they're divorced. Now the Rebbe says, and now you have a little bit of a problem because your daughter, she's divorced. Who wants to marry a divorced woman? Not too many people. And you see, up to now, she hasn't been divorced, so she's not so. But you're in luck. I have a good offer for you. He says, yes, you do. He said, just come back tomorrow. I'll find the places. Come back tomorrow. Comes back the next day with his daughter. And meanwhile, the groom that just divorced her, he got washed up. He put on nice clothes. Now he's a rich man. Comes out. The rich owner with the father of the bride said, "Oh, this is a good groom. This is what I want with that. Now we're talking." Said, "I mean, he's willing to marry my daughter, certainly, but she's divorced. It doesn't make any difference. Look at him closely. You know what this is?" He looks. 1 minute. 1 minute. That's the same fellow that just divorced her. He said, "Yeah, that's right." He said all the time that he was poor, as he didn't have any self-confidence whatsoever. So that's why he didn't dress nicely. That's why he was all stooped over. That's why he didn't look nice. Now, as soon as he got money in his hands, so now he's got more self-confidence. Now he looks differently. He's fitting for the clothes, the nice clothes that he's wearing. He's fitting to be a groom for your daughter. So what happened? The Maggid of Mezrich made a miracle that sort of wasn't a miracle. And the miracle that he made was that he knew that this pupil should get married to this girl. That's the miracle. But wasn't the miracle is that as soon as this pupil, he had a little bit of means in his hands, he became a little bit on his own 2 feet financially, it changed his whole personality for the good. He became a fitting husband and father and groom for this woman. So it comes to show us 2 things. Number 1, the holiness of the Rebbe. Number 2, the holiness of this world, how special this world is, that God put the Rebbe in the world. And number 3, that if we use the world properly, that it has a good positive effect on us and on everyone around us. That's why it's so important that we should use the world to serve the creator of the universe. And only Mashiach will teach us how to do that. That's why we need Mashiach now. And I'm going to tell a second story, but I'm going to stop the story over here.